Okay, I have another game for you between Lu Miaoyi, who is actually really hard to find pictures for, but I did find a picture of her and her Grandmaster mother. So her mother is an active Grandmaster. Her grandfather was also a junior chess champion, so chess runs in that family. And yeah, Lu Miaoyi, the younger there, is playing against this Serbian Grandmaster who has been rated as high as 2608. So we have Nikola Sedlak rated as high as 2608 there. And so he is playing the black pieces as pictured, and Lu Miaoyi playing white here. This game, you can see, was played in August, and some of the information about that game, even the first half dozen or even first dozen moves or so, are down there. Played in August of 22. Let's go ahead and get right into the game. Lu Miaoyi starts with pawn to e5, and then the Grandmaster decides to go with the Sicilian defense. So pawn to c5, and now Lu Miaoyi plays knight to c3 here. The Grandmaster then plays knight to c6, so this is the classical variation of the Sicilian defense. Lu Miaoyi now develops her other knight to f3, so we got three knights battling on the board right now. And then the Grandmaster plays pawn to d6. And this is standard Sicilian defense. This is the Sicilian Open. These are book moves. They've been played hundreds of thousands of times, these exact same moves. Now Lu Miaoyi plays pawn to d4, and the Grandmaster, as expected, does capture. We have c captures d4, then we have knight captures d4, and this is the idea behind the Sicilian defense. This is why it's so popular, because black often ends up with two central pawns and white just one. So it can perhaps add some sort of an advantage in the center of the board having those extra pawns, and that's why this is a popular defense. The Grandmaster now plays knight to f6, knight to f6, and Lu Miaoyi develops her bishop with bishop g5, attacking the knight. And the Grandmaster then develops his light squared bishop to d7. Lu Miaoyi then moves her queen to d2. And again, these are all book moves. They've been played at this point many thousands of times. But now the Grandmaster plays pawn to h6 here. He plays pawn to h6. But this is not really recommended. This is not the best way to play this. The computer calling this an inaccuracy, saying that instead he should just go ahead and capture the knight here. Go ahead and capture the knight. And then when the queen captures back, you should have opportunities as black to perhaps castle in the future. So make some different moves, maybe get your queen involved in the game. But unfortunately, for the Grandmaster, he does play pawn to h6, which, like I said, is a bit of a mistake in the position. And after pawn to h6, Lu Miaoyi finds the strongest move, just going ahead and capturing the knight. And the Grandmaster does capture with the g-pawn, so it doesn't look like castling is going to be happening here since the g-pawn is gone. And this was the best way to capture back. G takes on f6. And now Lu Miaoyi plays knight to f5. Knight to f5 on the board. And then the Grandmaster does get his queen into the game with queen to a5. And Lu Miaoyi develops her last piece that wasn't in the game. Her bishop comes to b5, putting pressure on the knight. And the Grandmaster then plays pawn to a6, attacking the bishop. What are you going to do, bishop? Tell me what you're going to do, or get out of there. And Lu Miaoyi goes ahead and captures the knight. And this turns out to be the best move in the position. A lot of times you don't want to trade your bishops for knight, but there really wasn't anything else to do in the position. The Grandmaster then does capture to the center, so we have B captures on c6. And now Lu Miaoyi plays queen to d3, the best move in the position. And the Grandmaster now moves his rook to g8. And this seems a little bit funny to me. It feels awkward. So he just moved his rook to g8, and now Lu Miaoyi castles. Kind of right in front of a rook. It seems a bit dangerous. I'd be a little bit worried about that. But it turns out that is actually the best move that can be made in the position. So Lu Maoyi does find the right move. And now the Grandmaster actually plays rook to d8. Kind of a strange move. Well, he's just stuck in the center of the board, so I think he's just trying to solidify his position, maybe build himself a bit of a fortress. And now Lu Maoyi, she actually plays pawn to b4 here. She plays pawn to b4, but the computer actually recommends instead playing rook to d1. So rook to d1 would be a better move in this position, and let's take a look at that. So if instead rook to d1, then black would probably play, so the best move for black is just to play bishop back to c8, and then Lu Maoyi could reposition her queen to f3, and the Grandmaster, or well, he's not playing this position, this is Stockfish. So black would play queen to e5, and then white could play rook fe1, centralizing the rook, and black could then play pawn to e6, seemingly threatening the knight, but not really. You can't take that knight. And then we would have pawn to b4 by white. And let me just say, you can't take this knight, because if pawn captures knight and pawn captures back, you're unleashing the rook on the queen, and there's a pin there. So you can't take that knight. So pawn to b4 would be the next move that white would play under best conditions. And then we would have bishop to b7 by black. And then white could play queen to d3. And then black could play queen to f4. And then we have knight to g3. Bishop finally to e7. And now knight to e2. That's knight ce2, attacking the queen. The queen would be forced to e5. White could play pawn to f4, chasing the queen over. And now the engine actually suggests playing the pawn to c4, which then would drop the pawn anyway. And the evaluation bar is exactly the same after this position as it was in the game that Lu Maoyi played. So I'm not sure why they're calling that an accuracy. In fact, both these players played at nearly 96% accuracy, which is almost unheard of. I've covered the greatest players in the world, and they rarely play at 96% accuracy. So again, it doesn't seem like Lu Maoyi's b4 move was really a mistake. Let's go back to the actual live game. So yeah, Lu Maoyi plays b4. The Grandmaster plays the best move in the position. He goes ahead and captures the pawn. And now the purpose of this move was so that Lu Maoyi could get her rook to the 7th rank. So she plays rook a to b1, attacking the queen, forcing the queen out of the way. The Grandmaster plays queen to a5, and now Lu Maoyi does play rook to b7, penetrating the position. And the Grandmaster finds a very solid move, bishop to b8. Now, his pieces are kind of tied up in there. They're not really involved. I mean, everything's on the back rank there. The only thing he's got out is his queen. So you can kind of see that even though the Grandmaster does have an advantage as far as material, he's up a point, he's not dominating the position by any means. Lu Maoyi then plays her rook to a7. So we have rook a7. And now the Grandmaster goes ahead and attacks that rook with queen to b6. Lu Maoyi offers a trade by putting her queen on e3, defending her rook at the same time, and the Grandmaster does take the trade. He's probably gunning for a draw at this point. Lu Maoyi's pieces all have more activity, so a queen trade makes a lot of sense. So yeah, the Grandmaster plays queen captures on e3, and Lu Maoyi actually captures back with the knight, which makes complete sense to me. It's going to keep these pawns kind of connected to each other, which should be a lot stronger. But that is not the best move according to Stockfish. Stockfish actually likes capturing with a pawn. So let's take a closer look at that position. Yeah, so if white captures with the pawn here, then probably the best move for black would be to lift their rook to g5, and white could attack that rook, and then they could play rook to g4, Yeah, this position is supposed to be better. I guess the rook is kind of trapped, and he's not going to be able to get over and stop perhaps the other rook for getting over there. And I think that's why they wanted the rook lift earlier, is so that that rook could get over here. But yeah, that's not what happens in the position. I really don't like this pawn structure. Lu Maoyi ends up with, double isolated pawns on the e file. She's already got these weaknesses over here. So it does make sense to me that she played knight captures. That's what I would have played in the position. Let's go back to the actual position. So yeah, Lu Maoyi plays knight captures on e3. The Grandmaster then plays pawn to pawn to e6. And this is actually a mistake also. The computer likes going ahead and moving the rook over here with ideas of eventually blocking over here. Let's take a look at that variation real quick. So again, it should have been the rook lift. So Stockfish recommends, instead of playing pawn to e6 as was played in the actual game, playing rook to g5, and then Lu Maoyi would probably, or White should play uh, rook to b1, and then Black could play rook to c5, putting pressure on that knight who is guarding that key square there. The knight would be forced to move. Knight to a4 is best, attacking the rook, and now Black can keep the other rook from penetrating the position. So that's kind of the reason why I believe that Stockfish is suggesting that move instead. So it's suggesting the rook lift instead of what happened on the actual board. So again, in the actual, let's back up to the actual position. So instead, the Grandmaster did play pawn to e6 in this position. Lu Maoyi moves her knight to a4 anyway. And now the Grandmaster pushes his d pawn. And Lu Maoyi plays rook to b1, which is a brilliant move, very strong move in the position, extremely dangerous. Basically forcing the Grandmaster, well, he should really play bishop to d6. Instead, first here, he grabs a second pawn. So now, after d captures on e4, the Grandmaster is up 2 pawns here. And Lu Maoyi sacrificing the pawn, hoping to get her pieces more active in the attack of the king. She now plays rook to a8, which is the strongest move in the position. And now the Grandmaster does bring his bishop to d6, which is the strongest move in the position. He's got to keep an eye on the b8 square. And Lu Maoyi then moves her knight to b6, putting 2 attackers on the bishop, forcing Black to lift his king so that the 2 rooks can defend the bishop instead. He lifts his king to e7. And now Lu Maoyi plays rook to a7 check. The king goes back to f8. And now Lu Maoyi plays rook to d1, pinning the bishop to the knight, or to the rook, the undefended rook. And the Grandmaster plays the strongest move in the position, getting his king kind of out of dodge, as it were. He moves his king to g7, trying to get away from all that nastiness over there. And now Lu Maoyi plays rook to a8. And the Grandmaster moves his bishop to b7, attacking the rook. Lu Maoyi moves her rook back to a7, attacking the bishop. Best move she can make. And the Grandmaster then moves his bishop back to c8. There's really not anything else that can be played. These players are playing the absolute best moves as evaluated by Stockfish, which is about a 3,500 in valuation. Yeah, since Lu Maoyi is down 2 points, she needs to have a solid attack here, or nothing. So they end up dancing around here. So now Lu Maoyi plays rook to a8, and the Grandmaster again attacks the rook with bishop to b7. And now again we have rook to a7, and the Grandmaster again moves his bishop back to c8. And this is a draw by 3-fold repetition. So that is the end of the game. And it was a beautiful game. Like I said, both players played at like 96% accuracy. I think One played slightly less, one played slightly more than 96%, which is better than Ding Liren and Jan Nepomniachtchi play most of the time. So Ding Liren and Jan Nepomniachtchi, as you may know, are playing for the World Championship title, the strongest players in the world besides, of course, Magnus Carlsen. Speaking of Magnus Carlsen, and draws in general. So even the strongest player in the world by rating, rated at 2859, he gets mostly draws. So if you look at the percentages, 42.68% of his games are draws. So more of his games than anything else are draws, although it's very close to his wins. 42.15% wins and 15% losses. He barely loses. That's why he's so good. So that's really what separates the true like super GM, super grandmasters from, you know, the masters and lower grandmasters, is that they can get a draw out of a sticky situation. And you know, this grandmaster Nikola Sedlak, he is a very strong player. Rated at over 2,600 at one point. He knows what he's doing, and so yeah, he's able to get a draw in an otherwise lost position. So anyway, uh, hey, if anybody can guess what's on my shirt here, that would be cool. I'd like to hear if you know what that is. There's a hint if you look at the objects in my background here. You might have an idea what this might be an image of. Thank you for joining me for that. Please like and subscribe, as I will be posting many more games of Lu Miaoyi's, and I will also be posting tactics, checkmate patterns, different game studies. So yeah, let me know if there's anything else as far as aspects of chess that you'd like to know more about. And also thank you for those of you who had the courage to kind of let me know what I've been doing wrong with my game analysis. For example, my audio, I guess, was sucking pretty bad. I did have a excellent fan give me a Blue Yeti, but I was using it wrong. So I think I'm using it right now, so that audio should be better. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one. Bye-bye.